The sun hung low over the village of Idon, casting long shadows on the dusty streets. Sade adjusted the head wrap on her head and ignored the stares that followed her as she walked past the market stalls. The whispers were nothing new. For 6 years, they had murmured behind her back, calling her an ashawo, a disgrace to Yoruba tradition. She clenched her jaw and walked on, her son, Korede, trailing beside her. He was the only thing that mattered. No one knew the sacrifices she had made to keep him safe, the nights she spent awake worrying about his future. It didn't matter that she was now one of the wealthiest women in the village, with a thriving business selling fabrics. To them, she would always be the woman who bore a child out of wedlock. A group of elderly women sitting under a palm tree clucked their tongues as she passed. "A woman without a husband is like a bird without wings," one of them muttered. Sade ignored them, but inside, her heart ached. How much longer would she endure this judgment? That night, as Sade closed her shop, she heard voices outside. She peered through the wooden slats and stiffened when she saw her uncle, Baba Agba, talking to another man. "She cannot continue like this," her uncle said. "No man will marry her now. We must find a way to restore her honor." Sade's hands trembled as she locked the door. Restore her honor. What did that mean? She had worked hard to build a life for herself and Korede. Why was that not enough? As she made her way home, she felt the weight of unseen eyes watching her. She had lived in Idon all her life, yet she felt like a stranger among her own people. The night air was thick with unsaid words, and she knew something was coming, something that would shake her world once again. The next morning, Korede came running into the shop, his small face lit with excitement. "Mama, a big man came to the village today. He looks like me." Sade's heart pounded in her chest. "What do you mean, Omomi?" "He has a car, Mama. A big one. He asked for you." A chill ran down Sade's spine. There was only one person who could match that description. She stepped out of the shop, her breath catching in her throat. Across the marketplace, standing near Baba Agba's house, was Tond, the man who had abandoned her 6 years ago. His eyes met hers, and for a moment, time stood still. Tond walked toward her, his steps measured, his expression unreadable. He had changed. His shoulders were broader, his face more chiseled. He looked successful, confident, exactly how she had imagined he would become when he left her behind. "Sade," he said, his voice smooth but careful. "We need to talk." Sade felt Korede tug at her hand. She gripped him tightly, as if holding onto him could protect her from the storm that had just returned. "There's nothing to talk about, Tond." But the look in his eyes told her otherwise. Tond followed her inside the shop, his presence unsettling. "I know I hurt you, Sade," he began, his tone softer than she expected. "But I didn't know about Korede. If I had, you would have what?" she snapped. "Stayed. Married me. You left me to face the shame alone, Tond. You don't get to rewrite history." He exhaled sharply. "I made mistakes. But I'm here now. I want to know my son." Sade's heart ached, but she refused to let him see her pain. "You don't get to decide that," she said, her voice firm. "Korede is my son. You lost that right when you left." News of Tond's return spread like wildfire. By evening, the elders summoned Sade. She sat in the dimly lit hall, surrounded by judgmental eyes. Baba Agba spoke first. "This is a chance to right the wrong," he said. "Tond is willing to marry you. You should accept." Sade's breath hitched. "Marry him? He abandoned me." An old woman scoffed. "A woman needs a man to protect her. What will your son say when he grows up and asks for his father?" Sade's hands trembled. Did they think she was incomplete without a man? Tond stepped forward. I will do the right thing now, Sade. Let me be Korede's father. But could she ever trust him again? That night, as Sade lay awake, she replayed the past. The love, the betrayal, the shame. She thought of Korede, his laughter, his questions about fathers. Would it be selfish to refuse Tond? Or would it be a betrayal of her peace to accept him? She turned to the wall, whispering a silent prayer. Oron Mala, show me the way. The following day, Sade met Tond by the river. The village women were washing clothes nearby, their laughter and gossip filling the air. She ignored them and faced the man who had once broken her. If you truly want to be a father to Korede, prove it, she said. You will not take shortcuts. You will not force marriage on me to ease your guilt. Tond nodded. I understand. Then be patient, she said. And let Korede decide if he wants you in his life. Weeks passed, and Tond kept his word. He visited Korede often, teaching him how to carve wood and telling him stories of the city. Korede began to warm up to him, and Sade watched from a distance, her heart both relieved and weary. One evening, she found Tond waiting outside her shop. Sade, I still love you, he said softly. Her heart skipped a beat, but she stilled herself. Love is not enough, Tond. Trust is. Then let me earn it. Months passed, and Tond proved himself. The village, once critical of Sade, began to accept her again, not because of Tond, but because she had stood firm in her dignity. One evening, as the sun set over Idon, Korede took her hand and Tond's. Can we all be a family? He asked. Sade looked at Tond, seeing sincerity in his eyes. Maybe, just maybe, love was worth a second chance. Or maybe, the true victory was that she had found peace, with or without.